Calving glaciers. In the recent past, many fjord glaciers in Alaska have been observed at rates far in overload of typical glacier retreat rates on land surface. The dramatic recession of them is because of frontal calving. The calving is a process which involves the shedding or breaking of icebergs from a glacier that terminates or meets the ocean or a large water body. A fjord glacier's terminus can stay stable as long as it is lying grounded against a shoal, even though the mass may be deep below sea level for a large portion of its length. However, calving may begin and continue quickly and irrevocably until the glacial front once again gets grounded, usually close to the fjord's head if the front retreats into deep water. So far, you have learned about glacial movement, components of glacial movement, glaciers' velocities and directions of flow, and glacial surge. Now, let us look into crevasses. The glacial surface segment with the little weight upon it is fragile. Since the varying movements within glaciers as they flow over an abruptly steepened slope like a bedrock cliff, the surface ice is subjected to tension and shearing and it deep fissures or cracks. These cracks and fissures open up and form crevasses. The depth of the crevasses very rarely acquires 50 meters. At much depth, the internal flow of ice checks crevasses from structuring. Due to the fissures at the surface, at flows at depth, the glaciers are comparable to the Earth's outer layers, which comprises of a surface zone that fractures and cracks and that can flow very gradually. The crevasses intersect along the steep slopes, forming a series of snow pinnacles are known as seracs. Abruptly increasing slopes, there is a cataract of ice called as ice fall. It is attributed by several crevasses and ice pinnacles. The typical example is the Kubu ice fall beneath Everest. On the basis of orientation with the respect to the long axis of the glacier, there are several types of crevasses. They are marginal crevasses. They form at the margins of glaciers in regions of stress between the rapidly moving glacier at the middle of the glacier and the slowly moving snow near the valley walls. They are inclined at an angle to the glacial margin and point up glacier. The marginal crevasses are small, almost equal and clustered in rows are called Enchelon crevasses. Transverse crevasses. They develop when the surface over which glacier is moving sequence of areas curving across the surface of the ice, the marked convexity in the shape of the flow. They are formed in areas of extending flow. Longitudinal crevasses. They are approximately parallel to the direction of the flow from where ice spreads laterally. They form in the areas of compression flow when the ice velocity reduces and ice is able to spread out laterally. Splaying crevasses. Like longitudinal crevasses, these are also parallel to the extended glacier axis, but only in upper part of glacier's end and curve en route for the edges on their down glacier ends. Tic-tac-toe crevasses. These are very rare groupings which develop zigzag patterns and probably form on a bedrock bulge on the floor of valley. Bulge-ridden crevices. This is also known as edible crevices. It is a kind of crevices which is close to the back of a cirque, and it is much deep and narrow crack marking the line where the glacier is moving, shifting apart from the back wall of cirque. On ice and firm compacted and pull away from the back wall of a cirque at the head of the glacier, the Bergschrund forms. According to the Arthur Holmes, Bergschrund crevices are open in summer at the top of Neve Field. There, the glacier head is pulled away from the precipitous fall or from the ice adhering to them, and in winter such irregular crevices are shed by ice, but in a warmer months the ice melts and they are open. At times, tiny pools and nulls outline on the glacial surface, assembling into rivers or streams that are mostly fall into the gaps found in the crevices. Equipped with pebbles, sand particles and boulders, this water can cut a vertical shaft or moulins in a glacier which melt water flows down under gravity. Sometimes the water reaches the bedrock beneath the glacier ice, where the boulders grinding action can score out potholes, and occasionally the water escapes through a funnel to the snout. Summary. The glaciers comprises of ice which has been transformed from snow through compaction, recrystallization and flow. Glaciers form part of the cryosphere, the area of the planet where water exists primarily in the frozen condition. The mass balance of glaciers is measured in terms of accumulation and ablation of ice. The line of equilibrium demarks the accumulation area from the ablation portion and marks the level on the glacier where net gain is balanced by net loss. In the glacial movement, the motion of temperate glaciers involves both internal flow and sliding along the bed, whereas in the polar glaciers, the motion is much slower and includes only internal flow.